What is up, everybody? My name is Benji Dum Dum Doggy Sacks, and I'm here joined by my friend Tyler Faxy Frim. And today we're watching Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves, Week 1, Game 2, or Day 2 for that matter. And it's going to be a pretty exciting matchup. How are you feeling today, Tyler?
I'm feeling great. Can't wait to see this top lane matchup. Licorice for Someday. Hype matchup.
Hype matchup indeed. They were talking about it on the analyst desk. Let's go over these picks and bans so far. What are we seeing, man?
Well, we're seeing the same old, same old. Got those ADC bans and Kalista and Varus. Same with the Syndra, which can be flex bot lane. Two jungle bans at the MVP last split, Blabber, and the Graves and Trundle. And it looks like a LeBlanc ban after Nissy's first game of the split playing the LeBlanc. He is getting banned out now because of a strong performance.
It seems we're cutting back to the casters here. That's fine. That was a weird camera thing.
Yeah.
See the Olaf being picked for Blabber here. Very comfortable on that champ. Really likes to play a really aggressive, in-your-face sort of style. And we saw in the Cloud9 debut that he could just take over a game with that warrior Olaf. The Ezreal and the Yuumi also picked. Very strong bot lane. Super safe for Sven and Vulcan. I'm just going to go ahead and make a prediction here. I'm expecting, if it doesn't get banned, Zoe to come through for Niski. Just because the Ezreal-Zoe combo is really, really strong. And Niski plays a very, very good Zoe. He's able to roam with the champ a lot. And he's so far in his history of playing on Cloud9, he's done very well on the champ. So I'm expecting to see a Zoe there. On the 100T side, though, got Someday on the Ornn. Not really a super carry champ, but does still have a lot of impact on the game there. Oh, and Zoe's actually going to get banned on 100T. They were expecting it too. Didn't want to give Niski all that power here. We're going to have to see what the final ban for Cloud9 is. They already banned Lulu. What are you expecting to see here, Tyler?
I think we could expect to see another support ban out of Cloud9 because they have built a safe bot lane for themselves in the Ezreal and Yuumi. However, there are still champions like Nautilus and Thresh that can like really get in there and ruin their day. They decided to ban out the Cassiopeia, a very strong pick against the Olaf and Ezreal with the grounding and just the kiting ability of that champion.
Right. I like the cast ban too. I don't know how much experience Ryoma has on Cassiopeia, but it's better safe than sorry, and I think that's the motto that Cloud9's trying to stick with right here. Gonna see a Nautilus pick up for stunt there in the bot lane. Super strong support. We see it in all the regions across the world. When in doubt, you want a Nautilus out. That dredge line is just so good at engaging, and you can do so much for your team, both peeling and also carrying team fights with that super huge, impactful ult there.
Exactly. Who doesn't like a champion with 4 CC abilities?
Exactly. I know I do, especially in my solo queue games. And I see a Gangplank to be picked up for Licorice versus Someday here. How are you expecting the Gangplank Ornn matchup to play out?
Definitely not what I was like hoping for in this super hype top lane matchup, but I think it's just going to be a very like slow, just farm back and forth, push waves together. I'd expect to see this Gangplank on the side lane for the most part this game, since I do believe he beats Ornn in that side lane matchup, giving Cloud9 a lot of control in the side lane. With that Azir lock in, I'm expecting Cloud9 to do more of a 1-3-1 this game because the Galio has so much global presence, so does the GP. And also as the 100 Thieves, like you have that Ornal, the Zero, like so much AoE ultis and teamfight ultis on the side of 100 Thieves. So I'm going to be thinking they're looking for the 5v5.
Yeah, it definitely two different styles coming out here. Galio mid is pretty interesting. It's a very strong mid lane, but Niski, I would expect he's going to be down, at least in the early parts of this game. It's really hard to farm as Galio. I mean, just because it's a melee range matchup, and Azir is probably one of the most bully type mid laners in the game, right? It's very hard to deal with him, and his poke is just ridiculous. Not uncommon though, the Galio pick. We did see it today in the G2 versus
Vitality game.
Vitality game. Yes, on Caps. Not exactly as strong of a showing as we would have hoped, but if anyone's going to do it better, it's going to be Cloud9. And anything that they're pulling out, they've at least tried in scrims a couple times. And the theme for this roster is they want to try and experiment here, and that's exactly what they're doing here in the NA LCS. So we have two separate team comps, right? One's going to be very split pushy, 1-3-1, and the other one's a very wants to 5v5 you team fighty comp. How are you expecting the early game to play out?
Well, with the Kindred pick on the 100 Thieves side, that's a very well-known Olaf counter, and I think 100 Thieves' idea is just to contain this Olaf in the early game, so then Cloud9 can't run away with the lead and just take down the entire map with their strong side lanes. And on top of that, I think with this 100 Thieves, on the Aphelios, Cody's on the Aphelios is going to be wanting to just farm up and scale up against this Ezreal, who will spike in the mid game, yes, but if 100 Thieves and Cloud9 are even after the early game, I think 100 Thieves are feeling really well, especially with the two hypercarry scaling champions in the mid and bot.
Right. Just an overall really strong comp coming out of 100 Thieves here and C9. Though I do think it's a little bit more risky, to say the least. A lot more on the line there, and I think it's a lot easier for Cloud9 to sort of fall behind here. But hey, I mean, that's what they're looking for. Cloud9's looking to challenge themselves, and I think they're doing that with this comp that they've brought today. I love that skin on the Galio for Niski. I think that's really funny. And we see the champions loading out onto the Rift. All right. Week 1 game, or day 2, Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves. A lot of cool matchups that we're going to see here today. Everyone talks about the someday Licorice matchup, but I also want to focus on this Meteos versus Blabber matchup as well. Meteos, for the longest time, was considered the best North American jungler. And here we have Blabber, who is currently, undisputed best North American jungler as of late. How do you expect the Kindred Olaf matchup to really play out, given that Olaf is sort of being countered by this Kindred?
Yeah, I think every team's approach to Cloud9 right now is just contain Blabber, right? Like we saw it in the first game uh, against FlyQuest, where they took Elise Sin pick, I believe, and that does really well into the Olaf too. But on top of all that, they just dogpiled on Blabber in those first fights. I think Hundred Thieves has the same idea, but they took a counter pick in the Kindred, and so I'm expecting Blabber at least being Blabber to still break out of those chains no matter how much Hundred Thieves throws at him. But yeah, I think they're just trying to contain the Olaf and farm in every lane. I also like the Galio pick into this Kindred from Cloud9. Galio, I would say, is a pretty strong Kindred counter because of his ulti, which
Mm-hmm.
can follow the Kindred ulti, and that just ruins the entire show for Kindred.
Do you expect that to be the way that it plays out? Do you expect Niski to hold on to his ultimate until the Kindred ultimate's popped? Because I would expect it's going to be Galio ult and then Kindred ult for Cloud9, at least in these team fights, right? Because you're going to use it to respond and rotate super fast. It seems like it's going to be hard to really use it as a counter.
Yeah, and that would make sense, but at the same time, if you are forcing yourself onto the Kindred at the beginning of a team fight, she's going to be forced to blow ult no matter what. She is a very squishy
Oh
champion.
my, Licorice taking a lot of damage from Someday, forced to flash there in the top lane. Really interesting development there. What exactly happened just now?
Well, I mean, although Ornn is a tank, everyone knows him as the tank, assassin, bruiser. He's just the everything champion. And I think GP with his weak early game, kind of got a little over ambitious there, since he does have the parley with the Grasp of the Undying, but at the same time, Ornn's just percent health damage is too much.
You see Meteos creeping up on Licorice here. He doesn't have a flash, so there's going to be no way for him to get out of this. Oh, Someday's going to miss the knockup. Lots of damage, and it's still going to go through. First kill, first blood, going over to 100 Thieves and Someday in the top lane. And that's exactly what we wanted to see here out of 100 Thieves. Win conditions, we wanted them to win through the top lane. We were a little hesitant to see if that was going to happen through the Ornn, but rest assured it still comes through.
Yeah, and that was really good by 100 Thieves. Meteos got his mark down on the GP, so now he's at a 1 mark advantage. And he got really lucky with the top scuttle also being marked. But after seeing Blabber and Niski mid and the TP from Licorice, he was forced off of it.
Right, right. Licorice gonna TP immediately back into lane so as to not lose any CS. Gonna try to keep that CS lead that we're expecting to happen just because, semi-ranged into melee matchup. But it's showing this matchup at least to be a lot more exciting than previously anticipated, right? I mean, we were expecting it to be sort of like a farm lane, but I don't know. That Flash is still not even halfway through its cooldown, and are we expecting a repeat gank here in the top lane? Is Media's just gonna camp this lane now?
I wouldn't expect it, mainly because Galio's about to hit 6. That's always like a threat. You still have TP on Ezreal. And at the same time, you do not want this Cloud9 team to be able to stack objectives like these and these Rift Heralds. So top lane, maybe not the best lane to play through, especially since it's Ornn. Like, no matter where he is in the game, he's just going to be ulting and CCing people in fights, no matter how ahead he is.
Right, right. Always just a CC monster. And we kind of see that for a lot of the champions on 100 Thieves. The Nautilus, the Ornn, the Azir, even the Aphelios has got a fair share, at least right as far as ADCs goes. Aphelios has a crap ton of CC. We're going to see Stunt and Meteos and Cody Sun starting up the Cloud Drake, wanting to get an early lead on Drakes here. And I think that's just to be expected. Meteos already has the mark on Blabber to get some extra damage onto him.
Yeah, if teams learn anything from last split, it's that you can't just sit back and try to weather the storm against Cloud9. You got to bring the fight to them.
That's true. The only game that they lost last split was against, at least in the regular season, was against TSM. Hold the phone 1 second. As we see Someday going in on Licorice here on the top lane. Pops the ult, does a lot of damage onto him. We're going to see they're just trading blows right now. Licorice feeling confident enough to stay at least in shooting distance of Someday. But with an ultimate down, Licorice didn't pop his ult there in that exchange either. So he still has that global.
I think that was a misplay out of Someday. He got the initial Brittle proc with his W and didn't proc it with an auto, and then he ultied, got another proc, and then knocked up another proc. He did not proc any of those Brittle autos on that entire time. I think that should have been a solo kill.
It was definitely looking like a solo kill, but with the corrupting potion coming in and also the oranges as well, Licorice is going to be fine. Meteos and
Blabber finding
Blabber here.
Meteos.
Blabber does have ult, whereas Meteos does not. But
Ryoma
Ryoma's
roaming
on
up.
the side. Oh, gonna pop the ultimate. Niski's gonna come in to help. GP ult gonna pick up the kill on the Meteos. That's 1-1 for Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves.
Cloud9 looking to set up a dive for Someday.
Niski gonna take a turret shot, but he's tanky already.
Blabber just waiting in the wings.
And remember, Someday doesn't have that ultimate. Forced to blow the flash, and they're gonna dive into the turret, and Niski's gonna pick up that kill. Very well executed on the side of Cloud9. I mean, and if you're 100 Thieves, like, what are you going to do there, right? Meteos already left. There was no way you were going to save Someday there.
Yeah, you really just have to sack the top lane at that point. And, like, once again, Blabber is going Warrior Olaf this game, although Squishy does a lot of damage, as you saw in that Kindred last fight.
That's true. That's true. And that's the strength for Warrior Olaf is that you're a little bit squishy, but the damage you're able to put out in the early game is immense. Meteos being a little sneaky here, a little cheeky, gonna steal this red buff from Blabber, who is returning from the fountain.
Yeah, Meteos knows Blabber had to reset after that top play and feels comfortable just invading this bottom side jungle.
Even though there
and here
is
we're going to get a replay.
Right, so we see Ryoma coming up. And in this situation, it looks like 100 Thieves has the lead. But remember, Niski has his ult, so he's able to come help. And Licorice is able to do a lot of damage with his ultimate there.
Yeah, just that global presence I was talking about in Champ Select. C9 is like really comfortable with like starting out a fight at a numbers disadvantage because they can make it a numbers advantage just like that.
Just like that. And remember, we weren't even seeing all of Cloud9 there because Sven does have TP. Of course, it wasn't able to be used in that situation, but it's still up. So you have, you know, 3 or 4 champs in the game that have a global presence, global abilities, and such. Blabber
Absolutely.
just trying to put some pressure on the Meteos. Maybe he decides to steal the red buff here. Pops the ultimate. Meteos has his ultimate. It's going to be forced to pop his as well. They're just trading blows. Someday in the back trying to save his teammate. Not going to be able to as Niski comes in with the damage. Ryoma's also going to be coming in, trying to put some damage down with the Sand Warrior. Someday going to dash out of there. Niski super duper low. Liquor's just going to back him up, escort that gargoyle out of there. And that's going to be
Yeah,
another
and it
kill for
looked like
Cloud9.
some miscommunication out of 100 Thieves there. Somehow, Niski, although he did flash and heal over the wall, made it to that fight before Ryoma did, even though Ryoma was pushed in. And I really like the aggressiveness out of Cloud9. They know that like they still have so much like pressure on the top side, and this Kindred can be easily bullied in the early game by this Olaf.
Right, right. And we see, I mean, it's Cloud9 just playing to their strengths, right? This is a team that loves to fight, loves to be on the map, and Niski on this champ, on this Galio, is just able to do what he does best. When you think of Niski, you think of a roaming mid laner, a guy who plays a lot like Doimby, when you think about it. And he's able to just really put his pressure on the map very well.
Yeah, and it looks like Media's picked up his second mark of the game. Remember, Kindred needs 4 marks to get that extra range on her autos and abilities after that. Cloud9 100 Thieves grouping up around the dragon, expecting to take a fight soon. They know Someday does not have his TP up.
Stunt gonna go in onto Blabber, but Blabber's just gonna pop that ultimate. Galio ult coming in, and that's a lot of damage on the 200 Thieves members instantly, and they're just gonna be taken down. Cody Sun's gonna trade for a kill onto Blabber, and he might go down to the Ignite. No, he's gonna be completely fine, and that's a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Cloud9.
Yeah, and that was a great read by Cloud9. They know that Kindred ult isn't up right now, and they know that Someday's TP is also down. They also have the Yuumi Olaf combo, very potent. Yuumi great at keeping Olaf alive, and if Olaf's going full damage, she's just going to shred through those armorless 100 Thieves champions.
And how heartbreaking is that for Cloud9? Because if you were looking at the mini map, Someday just used his TP to get to the top lane. And as soon as he used it, they decided to pick a fight in the river. And on the side of 100 Thieves, you got to be scratching your heads thinking, what are we going to do here? Because in the beginning of the fight, it was a numbers advantage. But we see with that Galio ult, they were able to just turn that numbers advantage into a disadvantage, or at least Cloud9 was, because Niski was there in an instant. And it seems that like whenever this Galio ult is off cooldown, they're immediately fighting.
Yeah, and right here with the replay, we see that Stunt was feeling confident in the fight because Riom was roaming down early. Meteos is just waiting in the Dragon Pit, but that Galio just really put a damper on things. Blabber kind of inted there, just running straight at Cody Sun, and Cody Sun did a good job at trading back. So could have been worse for 100 Thieves.
Could have definitely been worse. Cody Sun is no slouch himself. A little bit of a health difference here, but not as big as the difference in the CS department for the side of Cloud9. Licorice into Someday, scoring a nice 10 CS lead or something around that point. I want to take a moment to talk about this bot lane too, because there is a significant CS advantage for Sven into Cody Sun, right? That's about 20 CS, a couple waves there, into a lane matchup that should be fairly even.
Yeah, and I think that's just smart lane setup by Cloud9, especially just after that Dragon fight. Oh, we have play mid.
We have a play mid. Blabber going in onto Ryoma. That was so interesting for me to see, because Blabber goes in and then immediately turns away because he trusts Niski to land his Q and finish up that kill. Really good teamwork and synergy on the side of Cloud9. Man, it's so hard to break down and analyze Cloud9 games because the action just never stops for this team.
It really doesn't. And it looks like Blabber's going to head straight down to the Scuttle Crab, trying to take that mark away from Niski, but Stunt's smart. He's looking to make sure Blabber isn't here. They see Aphelios is back at his tower, so Blabber feels comfortable to walk up and try and take this.
Look
Oh,
at the
but there's a
mini
collapse,
map.
a TP.
Oh, a TP from for Ryoma diving in here. That's Meteos versus Niski over here at the top of the river. Niski's fine to take the 2v1. He's got the GP ult to back him up. Blabber, Sven, and Vulcan are going in on Demetios. Not able to pick up that kill. Niski's forced to stopwatch, and Sven's going to pick it up with the Mystic Shot. What a fight there for Cloud9.
And I feel so bad for 100 Thieves. Like, Galio did not even use his ult there. Blabber didn't have his ult up there. But it's just like this Olaf just shreds through this Nautilus, who you would think would be tanky here. And Meteos, he just flashed out of that fight. He didn't really stay in. He had the ulti up, but he just decided to back out.
Yeah, he was thinking about helping his buddy Ryoma, but upon seeing both Sven, Blabber, and Vulcan coming up the river, he decided to hightail it out of there. And it's just really unfortunate because when one global isn't being used, we saw the GP ult being used too, in place of the Galio ult to help Niski with that 1v2 situation that he was just so comfortable doing. And that just goes to show like the teamwork that we see out of Cloud9, fully comfortable with each other. And I'm wondering to myself, was that even communicated, or was it just understood that that was going to happen?
Yeah, and here we are. We see that Cloud9 coming up at 15 minutes has around a 5k gold lead against the 100 Thieves. Cloud9 even invested into Coles this game in both Licorice and Sven, so that like just gave Sven and Licorice another kill since they have those completely stacked. And back to that CS lead that we were talking about in the bot lane. I think with stunts like roams throughout the bot river, leaving just Cody Sun alone, Sven and Vulcan are able to just push up, take CS and zone Cody Sun off for the most part, as well as a dive threat from Blabber.
Right, right. Just seeing a lot of pressure being applied where it can be for Cloud9, masterfully manipulating the map in so many ways. Someday gonna put the Ornn ult onto Licorice here, trying to make a play, but Meteos is a little too far behind. That's right, Licorice. Hit him with the B. And that's going to be a wasted ultimate for the side
Yeah,
of
and Licorice
100
with
Thieves.
flash up here.
He has flash up, but he's just going to take that damage and eat an orange. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he
Man,
was completely fine with taking all that pressure as Cloud9 did pick up the first turret of the game in the mid lane.
that's true. That's true. Even with Cody Sun and Stunt there to try to stop it, just the pressure that you get from Sven and Vulcan there in that bot lane duo. Ezreal Yumi is no joke. Though, to response, 100T is going to be dropping down the Rift Herald. Though, as a response to that, Niski's going to be getting the bot lane turret as well. So they're just trading turrets with no actual real reply to the mid tier 1 being taken down. Let's see if this Rift Herald's able to get another proc. He's able to. That's good damage onto that turret. They'll come back to that later. And now, I think 100T is just going to recall. Meteos going to steal some camps here. And now we have a new map set up. While that was all happening, Blabber was taking that dragon down there in the bot lane. So now it's Cloud9 that actually has the dragon advantage 2-1.
Yeah, and right now 100 Thieves, like, they don't really have agency on the map. Like, their vision is just all in their jungle except for that one control ward by the Cloud9 blue buff. And I think Cloud9's plan here is just like wrap around the map and just take out turret by turret, waiting for objectives. Since like as Cloud9, you don't need to force anything. You should expect to scale better, especially with the GP Ezreal on your team and a Yumi.
And a Yumi stunt, having to hook out of there. Blabber's so fast, it's going to be catching up. Yumi ult's going to go down. It's going to root stunt. GP ult going into place. There's so many slows here. Blabber's going to drop the ult. Hourglass is going to be popped for stunt. Try to keep him alive, but it's no use. You have axes and mystic shots coming out of every angle. And that
Yeah,
is a
and
dead stunt.
really weird seeing Stunt just like walking in his jungle alone.
Yeah, he's probably trying to ward, but was not able to do it safely. It's a risk, and one that probably didn't need to be taken.
Yeah, and here we see Cloud9 just instantly taking advantage of the map. With Someday top lane, there's no real threat from anyone on the 100 Thieves side to attack Sven and Vulcan.
And we see, I want to point out here, we talked at the beginning of the game, top of the match, these two different team comps and what they wanted to do. We said Cloud9 wants to spread across the map and use their globals to fight, right? And we've seen them do that very, very well. But for the side of 100 Thieves, we haven't really seen them try to clump up or try to do a 5v5 in any means. Someday is always in the top lane farming, trying to get his items completed. Now that he has two completed, he might actually group up. But I just want to point out, like we were expecting 100 Thieves to try to take these 5v5s, but Cloud9 is just so far ahead, they don't want to.
Yeah, and I think that's just because those early fights went so badly for 100 Thieves, they have to take the back foot and just like sit back and CS for a while. At the same time, you are dealing with an Azir, Kindred, and a Felio, so you want them to all hit like 2 or 3 item power spikes. As you can see, Cody Sun paid the Yumi tax and took a Executioner's Calling a little bit early just to stop that healing. But I think we can't really see like a competitive 100 Thieves fight until we see Cody Sun on 1 or 2 Zeal items.
Right, and by that point, it might be too late. Even with Meteos stealing camps over here on the bot side, it's just the goal difference is just ballooned 20 minutes, and it's already 7K difference, clean. It's a little ridiculous to see.
Yeah, and right now, Cloud9 is just pushing into 100 Thieves. They're just trading waves back and forth. I was hoping to see Cloud9 maybe employ the LS strategy of just freezing the waves when there's no real objective to take and just like wait and stall it out so then the enemy doesn't get many resources.
Right, right. I was expecting something similar, but of course, this is Cloud9 we're talking about. They always want to have their foot on the gas pedal and just trying to put as much pressure on the enemy as possible, and that includes, pushing in waves and the such. We see a lot of Cloud9 members around here on the bot side, and Minute till Drake want to set up for that. Clear vision, make sure they have no problem picking up this third Drake of the game, second Mountain Drake for them. And every time Cloud9 picks up a Mountain Drake, I feel like Someday's heart just sinks a little bit because that Ornn wants that Mountain Drake so bad.
Yeah, and here we see Rift Herald being dropped in the bot lane for Cloud9 as they are going to let that smack the bottom tower as they take control of mid as well.
Right, and they're gonna be able to pick up the mid turret and the tier 2 bot turret. Gonna try to put some damage onto the mid lane inhibitor. Of course, no Baron buff. It's gonna be really hard to crack these inhibitor turrets.
Yeah, especially
Though
with all those 100 Thieves wave clear.
that's true. Oh, Niski's gonna charge in, allow them to kill the turret, and Sven's gonna just blow up Ryoma. They're gonna see if they're gonna try to disengage here. See how much. Oh, look at that
Ooh.
barrel from Licorice, just completely deleting Meteos' health bar. As Cloud9 says, all right, let's pull off. We got what we wanted. They're going to pick up the inhib in the bot lane. They're going to pick up the inhibitor turret in the mid lane and the inhibitor for the mid lane as well. Lots of stuff that Cloud9 wants to do. And like I said, it's just like how we were talking about. Cloud9 wants to keep the pressure on as much as possible. I really think they're trying to go for a record here for fastest game. And they're doing a really good job so far.
Yeah, and right after that play in the 100 Thieves base, they're just peeling off, going for the objectives, putting wards down, counter jungling Meteor so he's even farther behind, picking up this dragon, but it does look like Stunt is walking down maybe to take a ward.
Try to
Ooh,
put
I
some
don't think they can make it.
Yeah, they seem to be a little too far out, and also you have Sven and Niski and Vulcan right there to back Blabber up. You're just gonna back up, probably look for another fight, and try to go for that Baron. Of course, if you're
And all,
Cloud9, you're so far ahead. I would imagine you just take the Baron anyway.
yeah, all Cloud9 has to do this now is just set up Baron Vision and just keep those top lanes shoved, maybe take that inner turret in the top lane and just let those minions push into that 100 Thieves base.
Right, right. Now, if you're 100 Thieves, I feel like we have to do this with a lot of Cloud9 games. If you're 100 Thieves, or you're the opponent of Cloud9, what do you do right now? We said in the early game, you gotta take the fight to Cloud9, but that just seems so impossible for them at this point, as the gold leads about 10k, or 9k at least.
Yeah, and with two super minion waves, you will always have a wave of minions shoving into your base. So I would expect them to be funneling all those minions into Cody Sun and Ryoma. Although Cody does not have a TP, so he cannot just show up at fights whenever he wants. But we now see the Runaan's Hurricane being finished for Cody Sun. Maybe if he could get a Phantom Dancer or just a Zeal before then. Oh, they're making a play on
Oh,
Meteos.
Niski just can't even cast it because Niski just completely blows up Meteos. Lickers dropped the ultimate, but it really wasn't necessary, to be honest. And now we see with the pickup on the Meteos, that's the enemy team jungler. They're just going to go for this Baron. And there's little to nothing 100 Thieves can do.
Yeah, with no smite, 100 Thieves cannot contest this. Ryoma and Stunt walking over. Oh,
Sven able to do so much damage and just completely blow up Ryoma, and that's two dead on the side of 100 Thieves as Cloud9 picks up the Baron. Niski and Sven aren't done yet as they're going to blow up Vulcan as well. Niski picking up the kills, and that's a lot of fantasy points for me, to say the least.
hey, I mean, I have Sven, all right? So 3-0 and 4. It's looking good for me as well.
Right, right. Hoping not to employ some of this caster curse we've been famous for here. Meteos is back up, immediately going to be pulled into a fight to drop the ultimate, and they're just going to wait it out and kill him right afterwards. Someday try and run away. Cody-san forced to drop the ultimate, but it does little to nothing to Cloud9's health bars, as they're just going to ransack their base here, clean it up. This is looking like a wrap here, folks. Trying to do his
Oh,
now Cloud9's got to ask themselves: do we get these kills? Do we pad the fantasy stats, or do we end this game? Looks like they're going to be going for the
well,
kills here, and that is going to be a very clean game on the side of Cloud9.
yeah, really just nothing 100 Thieves could do that entire game. Like, they took this Kindred jungle counter pick, didn't really go anywhere with it except for that gank top at the beginning of the game, and really just got ran over by, like, the global presence of Niski this game.
Right, right. Niski was just a complete powerhouse for Cloud9. Uh, Able to rotate and turn so many fights with his ultimate. And for like I said, the first 10 minutes, it was like whenever Niski had his ult, they were using it to fight. And that was really interesting to see, really cool to see out of Niski there. 4-0-7 for the Galio, putting up a really strong performance for Cloud9 there. And with that, that's going to wrap up our coverage of the Cloud9 versus 100T game for week 1, day 2, the NA LCS. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. We'll see you guys later.